Hi, good morning. My name is Raquel. Thank you for watching my podcast. Thank you to all new and returning viewers. Um, Today is Sunday, the 27th of November. Here's my little cat Soot, who obviously no longer wants to be on my lap. And it's overcast again today, but I waited a bit longer today to film so that I'd have better lighting than last week. So yeah, let's just get started. And I have all the links to where you can find me on the internet in the down bar, and also it links you to the if you go to my group on Ravelry, you can find the links there as well. So last week I showed you pumpkin ale. I haven't done anything to it since I showed you last week, but seeing as last week's episode was the light quality wasn't that good, I thought I'd show you again. Seeing as the light is slightly better, not great, but slightly better. So here's my pumpkin ale, completely finished. The only thing missing is sew up the sleeves here. In the pattern it doesn't tell you to sew these the cuffs, but I'm going to sew these shut and add some buttons. And now I have gone through my button stash and picked out a couple of buttons that I could use, so if you want, give me your opinion. I thought I only have 2 of these, so I thought maybe just one. And this is from Coconut Shell. Then I have these little hearts, and if I do these, then I'm going to put 3 of them like that, and they're made out of shell, painted, made to look like a leaf. Or I could add these little sunflowers, and I'd also add 3 of these. So those are my button choices. Yeah, that's my pumpkin ale. I just need to sew up the sleeves on both ends. Those are the only ends I have not woven in. And I need to add the pockets. And the pockets, I have this fabric that I bought at Tiger, and that's what I'm going to be using. And it should be enough. I have 2 pieces, so it should definitely be enough to make the pockets, and I'm going to do that next week, as I'm from the 1st of December I've got a couple of days off, so that's what so it's just jumped onto the table again, and he's going to play with a plastic bag that I have left here. So it's, no. Okay, so I showed you the other sweater I was knitting, or started last week, which I talked about a bit, which was the body is from the Flax Light pattern by Tin Can Knits, and then I was doing the striping based on the Disons Moi un Mouton by La Maison Lily, and I had hoped to be slightly further with it than I am right now, but yeah, that's okay. I think I can finish it today. I hope so anyway. And here it is. So I've got the whole body done. I got one sleeve done. And I've just put the needles on for the second sleeve, so I'm going to be, after podcasting, I'm going to start on the second sleeve. And for this one, because it's the same at the front and the back, I'm going to decide which one I want as the front, and then as a little detail so that I know it's easier for me to see which is the front, I'm going to add little buttons along one of the raglan. Sorry about the camera moving, but Soot's playing right behind the computer and he's messing with the computer. So yeah, my idea is to add some tiny little mother of pearl buttons here. I didn't bring them to show, but I have some really small mother of pearl buttons that I can just add maybe 3 or 4 just here. You can see Soot, he loves this yarn, loves it. This yarn is the main color is oatmeal, and that's Ophelia by Ovelha Negra. And then the first color here is Orchid, that's also Ophelia by Ovelha Negra. And then the rest is all Holstgarn. This one here is Oxford, which is like a dark gray. Then we have Glacier, this blue color. This is Cloudberry. Then we have Aquamarine. This one is Damask. Then Calypso, the green. This one is Sweet Pea, and then this is Sage Blue. And then I was pretty much on track with the gauge, the row gauge, yeah. So basically, I just calculated how many rows I needed to knit for the body length I wanted before the ribbing, and that's what I did. So I didn't have enough, after doing this repeat, I didn't have enough rows left over here to do a full repeat of Sud. The dogs aren't here today, that's why he's more active. He's bored. Usually with the dogs, he plays with the dogs. So yeah, so I decided to do this, just 2 rows of striping in the same pattern, just going the opposite way. So starting with the Sage Blue and then working my way to the other one, and then I did. I basically finished the second skein of the oatmeal, so that got me 11 rows, and then I did 1 row plain knitting of the the Oxford color, and then I did 12 rows of ribbing. And I did go down needle size for this ribbing. I did not go down a needle size for the cast on here. I just did that in the 4mm needles all the way, and then for the ribbing at the bottom, I did 3.5mm, and it's the same thing with the sleeves. The sleeves I did slightly different. I did the striping to match the body all the way to the Sage Blue, and then if I'd done this striping, it would have made the sleeve too short, and I wanted slightly longer sleeves. So I decided to do 4 rows of the Damask and of the Sweet Pea and the Calypso. Then I did 3 rows of Damask, Aquamarine, and Cloudberry, and then 2 rows of the Glacier and the Orchid. And then I did 10 rows of the oatmeal, and again 1 plain row of knitting of the Oxford before 12 rows of ribbing, and it's 1 by 1 ribbing for the cuff, and then again use the stretchy bind off. I never know, I think it's Jodie's. It's a stretchy bind off. I'll link to it in the show notes. But the trick with this bind off, because it's already stretchy, you don't need to do it very loosely. So I just kept the yarn around, the pin that I used to knit, and did it tight, and it's pretty stretchy. So yeah, so that's 1 sleeve done, and I have to do the next sleeve, and that's all the knitting I did this week. Basically the whole sleeve was knit yesterday through. I spent some time at the Ovelha Negra yesterday morning, and then the rest at the knit group in the afternoon. So that's what I worked on this week. Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna finish off today. Then there's still 3 days left in November, so first thing I'm gonna do is pick up my socks that I started on Halloween, and I'm gonna finish those. And then I'm gonna knit the flax, the original flax sweater in a baby size for someone, and hopefully I can get that all done by the end of November. And as of December, I'm planning on just picking up 2 projects that I want to finish. I just want to complete them. They've been on the needles, so to speak. One of them is the a toy dragon, which is just there, actually. Here he is. I did quite a bit of him this year, and he's just missing his tail and all the spikes along the top. So this is what I'm going to pick up to finish off before the end of the year. And the other thing is my my blanket that I want to finish as well. That one I'll allow myself to finish until the 6th of January because I started on 7th of January 2014, so I want to just complete it and make it like a 2-year project, because I have several blankets planned for next year and I don't want to have this one still on the needles. So as I'm not going to be adding any more squares in terms of colored squares, I'm just adding the border. It's just going to be straightforward knitting on the border. So I should be able to do quite a bit of that in December, especially if I'm going to have basically basically I'm just going to work 2 weeks in December. I'm going to have from the 1st to the 11th of December I'm off on vacation. I'm just sticking around here, and I've got already some plans with friends, and then the week between Christmas and New Year I always take that week off, so that should give me plenty of knitting time, especially that last week of the year. So that's what I'm planning. And then today, because of the little guy, Mr. Stud, I'm going to move the computer slightly so you can see what I'm talking about. So in this square, that's where I have my the box for the TV and all that, like the what I have, like what gives me the TV, the internet, and all that kind of thing. And I can't put it higher up because my plan was to put it up on either this one or that one, but the cable doesn't go that far. When the guys came to install it the first time, move this back, sorry. When the guys came to install it the first time round, I only had the shelving and I had it lying down, so they didn't put like a really long cable on it. And now I can't put it up higher because that was the idea, because I already knew that he was going to eventually be able to jump onto that second, into the second square thing. Actually, it's the third one from the bottom. So what I did today was I went to IKEA, and they used to have these little plastic see-through doors with like little squares on them, like you could just attach to like the side and then close it. They don't have those anymore. They now have wooden doors, but that's no use to me because I need to have access to that easily, with the remote, so I can change channels on to the channel I want to see. So I got one that's not see-through, it's white, and it's an actual box, like a drawer kind of box that fits in there. So what I'm gonna try to see is if I can just use the sides and the front and then put it in there, and if the remote works with it like covered, then I'll do that, and if not, then while I'm watching TV I'll take that off, and then when I leave him in the living room I'll cover it up so that he can actually get to it. I've already closed off the sides. There's a little bit of a gap here between the brown one and the black one, and on the other side of the brown one there's a bit of a gap there as well, so he could still get behind to get to the cables, but I've closed off those so he can't actually get to them. He does try to climb in through this one over here, so I've bought another, again I want to move the thing, sorry. I bought another one of the blue ones, except they didn't have these blue ones anymore. They only had black or white, so I bought some black ones, seeing as the rest is all black. So I bought 2 boxes like this blue one in black, and again, sorry. And I'm gonna rearrange this area here because this is all stuff I still have to go through and rearrange. And I bought one, they had this new thing which is really cool, and I saw it and I was like, Actually, that's a good idea. They now have drawers. You can separate this into two drawers. And again, it's like you have to put it all together, of course, but it's already like a box size, and then you just attach the two drawers. So that's what I'm gonna do for here, and then I'll just put all these cables, which he loves to play with, these cables. So that's what I'm gonna use those drawers for. Yeah, put cables in on the one, like the charger for my phone, the charger for my camera. Put my camera in there as well, so it's not out in the open. And yeah, because I'm gonna start. Up until now, he's still separated from the dogs, and the only reason for that is because there's just too much stuff here in the living room that he likes to get into, and some of you already know this, but I didn't really say anything at the time because I was just too upset. But it's kind of over now. At the beginning of November, he spent 3 days in hospital because he ate a whole bunch of sock yarn, and it blocked his intestines, and there was the real possibility of him having to be operated on. Luckily, that didn't happen. They managed to, he managed to get the blockage out on his own, so with medication and all that. And then the second day he was in hospital, he got a fever of like 40 degrees, which wasn't good because, first of all, he's like only 6 months old. So he's a really young kitten still. They were like, he was supposed to come home with, he went in on a Thursday, on the 3rd of November, he went into the hospital. They were foreseeing that he could come home with me on the Saturday, but then on the Friday he got the fever, and due to a slight inflammation. It wasn't really an infection yet. Because they got it, he was at the hospital, so they got it on time. So he got his antibiotics on and everything. So it wasn't a full-blown infection, but it was kind of inflammation of the intestines due to the blockage. He then had to stay until Sunday, and I did go visit him on the Saturday. I wasn't able to on the Friday. And another reason they weren't very keen on letting him go on the Saturday was because even though his fever had dropped, it was still fairly high. It wasn't his normal body temperature. It was because he wasn't eating on his own. They had to force feed him. But when I got there on Saturday to go visit him, they already had like some food prepared for him and some water in the room that I sat with him and everything. And I turned to the nurse that like came and brought him, and I was like, "Is this the kind of food you've been trying to feed him?" And she's like, yeah, this is the food we give all the cats. And I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't like this food. It was like the pate. He hates pate. I bought, like when he first came home with me, I bought like 2 little of those. It was like 2 little trays of those. The dogs ate it. He didn't touch it. He only likes like the wet food in the sauce, so like that's like cut into little pieces. But at the moment he's not allowed. He has to be on special food until I finish the package, which is like a 4-kilo package, so it's going to last me, I'm like not even halfway through the package, it's going to last me another month or more, to regulate his stomach again, his intestines and all that. So he's fine now, and he seems to have sort of learned his lesson about not eating yarn. He's still, when he's sitting on my lap, and he sees a yarn coming by or something, he does still go with it at it with his paws, and he does still try to bite it. But if I tell him no, then he usually stops. So, and okay, ever since I have this cat at home, I've put away all my yarn. So I do not know how he got hold of this ball of yarn. It was in a bag, which was closed. So it's still a mystery to me how he got hold of this yarn. Okay, well, I was saying that the reason that he wasn't in the living room yet with the dogs was because At the beginning it was because he was too small and I wasn't sure. Dakota wasn't really reacting too well to him. Now she's no problem with him at all. And when I get home at lunchtime, usually he's waiting for me. Either he's waiting for me at the front door, or he's waiting by the living room door to be let in to play with the dogs. So I'm going to be rearranging this here today, and the rest of the living room I'm going to remove everything that he could possibly throw on the floor, because he seems to enjoy that, and make it a cat friendly area for him, and start leaving him with the dogs to see how that works out. He's jumping against the window because there's a fly on the window. Like I said, he's bored. He doesn't have the dogs to play with. So yeah, that's my plan for today. I should get that quickly done, and then I can get back to knitting. Now, while I was at IKEA today, apart from getting those things I really needed for the shelving and stuff, I had seen in the catalog some fabric that I really liked, and I said, oh, I have to get that, and I can make a nice big tote bag out of that, and I got it. I really like this fabric, and I'm planning on making a nice big tote out of it. I have the Ravelry tote, and I really like that size. It's great for me going to the knit group and all that. I can put a whole bunch of stuff in there. So, sorry guys, again, I don't know why this happens every time I start podcasting. So I have enough fabric, and this is a Inga Leo 2014 design for IKEA. So yeah, I just have to see how the Ravelry tote was put together, and then maybe try to find a pattern online or something, or make up my own. And this is nice sturdy canvas because this fabric is supposed to be for curtains. And then I'm just gonna either line it with the same fabric because I have enough to line it on the inside, or find something else suitable to line it on the inside. It doesn't have to be the canvas. The Ravelry one isn't even lined, so I could leave it unlined as well. But I think I want to maybe add some. The Ravelry one only has a pocket on the outside and a small pocket on the inside, and I want to add maybe bigger pockets on the inside. So that's another thing I want to try do in the first week of December. So I have quite a bit of things to do for during my vacation. And like I said, I'll be around the house, around the not going anywhere. I'm just staying around here, and I already have some plans. Sorry, I don't know why I start yarning while podcasting. Must be all the talking I do. I don't know. I really don't. So yeah, that's it for today. If you have opinions about the buttons I should use for, so about, let's see if I can hold all of them together. Maybe not. So about which of these buttons I should use for the pumpkin ale, let me know. I still haven't made up my mind yet. I'm leaning towards these two. More towards this one. But yeah, and then finishing off my other sweater today. And who knows, maybe I'll have some actual finished objects to show you next week instead of these half-finished objects. Well, this one's still technically a work in progress, and the pumpkin ale, all the knitting's done, just needs to have the actual finishing completed. So, okay, that's it for today. Have a nice week, and I'll see you guys next week. Yeah, and next week I'll have the dogs with me, so there might be a bit more noise, and it'll be a quieter sit for sure. So. Oh yeah, one other thing is that I came home on Tuesday at lunchtime, and Dakota had, like, her cheek was completely swollen up, so she has a tooth abscess in her tooth, and that's going to be removed tomorrow. So yeah, this month has been so in the hospital, and now Dakota having to remove a tooth. Hopefully Rusty did not pull a nail during this weekend, because he's at my parents' place and that's what he usually does. But I think both his nails were, the ones that he usually rips out, were pretty short, so we'll see when he arrives here tomorrow. Okay, so that's it. Have a nice week. I'll see you guys next week on my regular podcasting day. And yeah, have a nice week. Bye.